I didn't hear anything. Hi everybody, here's Christian from the Team Warcast. Welcome to our Pico-8 hero tutorial thing where we're building for so many episodes now this Breakout clone. And today is going to be a special day because finally all the payoff is happening today. We did a lot of programming last time around where we set up all the different things to make multi-balls appear, multiple balls on the screen. But we haven't actually had any multiple balls on the screen. Today, there's going to be multiple balls on the screen. This is our goal, to have multiple balls on the screen jumping around doing stuff. But for me, it's also a very special day because I finally, after months of research, look at what I got. Isn't it great? Wait a minute, I have to look because I'm not quite sure what the camera sees. So this is a keyboard I got. And I customized it with those beautiful keys. So now it's going to be very difficult to write because some of those keys say really silly things, and I really love like here and this over. So here my enter key is actually a shrug emoticon over here, or my escape key is like this weird face. There we go. There's the weird face emoticon. That's really fun stuff. So I'm getting used to this keyboard. So if there's going to be any typos. If there's going to be any typos, it's because of this keyboard. But remember, there is some very important. Every time I press the shift key, I love you. I love you. No, I won't be pressing too much shift key in Pico-8 because Pico-8 is all uppercase. Just saying, potentially. Okay, so never mind. Enough of that silliness. Let us get. I'm really excited about this keyboard. I'm just sorry. I just needed to show to you. Let us get to our hero one. Let's run this just to remind ourselves what is happening. Okay. Wait. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's working. Good. So now what I want to do is this. Power-ups multiball. This is something that I want to do today. I'm going to actually delete this right now. So, I want to have a function. I want to have a function that we call when we pick up the multi-ball thing, and that just makes multiple balls appear, just a standard function. And I'm rethinking the way we actually are going to implement this upgrade, because it might be worthwhile to make multi-ball something that actually stacks on top of other things. Still not quite sure about this, but for now we just want to have it. We just want to have a thing that makes multiple balls appear. Let me look real quick. Okay, so I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to call it function. There we go, multiball. Just a regular function. I'm not really thinking. I already wrote this once, so I'm kind of trying to make sure that there is nothing. So it's just going to be just a function. And we call this multiball down there. I'm going to do it right away before we actually start writing this function. I'm going to already call it. I'm going to do this down here when we actually get the power-ups. So you remember this was the function where you get the power-ups, and here's the multiple power-up. And basically the idea is that if I pick up the multiple power-up, I'm going to call the multiball function. Just simple like this. Again, this is all just like scaffolding right now. Later on, I'm going to maybe tweak things. Maybe the multiball thing will work differently, but for now, I just want to have multiple balls on the screen. I just really want to have this happening. Okay. So now the problem is like when you have to like think through what happens. So when you pick it up, the ball is supposed to split into 2 balls, or in 3 balls maybe. Like it's gonna be like that was the original thing, I think, was in the original Arkanoid or Breakout. No, not in Breakout, in Arkanoid, where you pick up this power up, the ball splits into 3 balls, I think. And something we can do very easily is, you know how we have multiple angles, like our ball can fly at multiple angles. So what I thought about is when you pick it up, you take the ball and you basically duplicate it, copy it multiple times, but the other balls will have slightly different angles. So you get like the spread shot. You know, so for example, if the ball is like perfectly 45 degrees, you'll get another ball that goes this, another ball that goes like shallower, another ball that goes more vertical. Or if you have a ball that goes very shallow, you get one that goes 45 degrees and one that goes extremely vertical. Right. So in order for this to work, we kind of need also a function that copies a ball. That kind of takes a ball that already exists and makes a duplicate of it. So I thought I'm going to call it copy ball. Copy ball, and then I'll call it B for the ball that I want to copy. Just making sure that this is how I solved it previously, because again, this is one of those things where it's kind of fun. It can be also fun if you can just kind of like wing it, but I haven't been programming this in a while now, and so I want to make sure that I'm not making too many mistakes or stupid decisions that I later maybe want to change afterwards. We changed already so many things with this program. I want to just really nail this one. Okay, so let's just write this copy ball. So I have the copy ball function accepts one parameter or argument, which is called BL, and that BL is kind of like the original ball. We could call it OB for original ball. Let's call it OB for original ball. Now I have to kind of guess which one is the O, because the O is actually not something that is on my keyboard. I love it. This is the best. That was the best purchase in my life. It was a very expensive purchase, but it's worth every penny. Okay, so, oh, wait a minute. That's wrong. So copy ball accepts OB. That's the OB thing is going to be basically the ball that we want to copy. And so I'm going to create a new, the first thing I'm going to do in this function is I'm going to create a new object. We remember like this curly brackets thing, this could be an array, but it also can be an object. In this case, our case, we're going to use it as an object. And then I'm going to start, you know, continuing. Again, I don't have a B on this keyboard, so this is good. This is, I love it already. This is the best. So B equals, oh yeah. So we're just going to take all of the original ball properties, and I'm going to put them in the new ball. It's my idea. Right? So like something like this. So we want the y to be the same, we want the dx to be the same, and we want the dy to be the same. And of course we want the angle to be the same. Right? And then at the end we're going to return our copy, the new ball that we just copied. And it's basically a very simple, similar function to the create ball, new ball function. You see how we had the new ball function where we just created a new ball that has like some default values. Well, this is basically the same function, copy ball. We can actually put them together so they're kind of like next to each other. And if we were really efficient programmers, one thing we could do is basically make one function, and depending on whether you actually get something in this, oops, let me remove this real quick. And depending on whether OB is actually set to an actual object, it will either copy an existing object or will just, you know, initiate a new object with some standard values. It doesn't matter. For us, it's, we're not really thinking about optimization. It's something that's very important. Like when you're programming, it's worthwhile to maybe think a little bit about, you know, how to make things optimal, but it's more important to get something done, because it's actually better to, after something is done, after everything's in place, to go over the entire thing and optimize it. That's actually better than trying to optimize for something that you haven't actually written yet. So you might optimize something and it's perfect function, and then later on, when down the line, you realize, oh, wait a minute, actually this very optimized function that I wrote is actually something I don't need or can't use, because my entire program actually turned out to be very different in the end. So we don't want, so this is a very long story for how I don't want to optimize this right now, but we might eventually. Okay, so we copied this ball. Now, what are we going to do? Aha, yes. Yes, I remember. This is very, very inefficient. Okay. So we have one ball. We assume that when you pick this up, we all have one ball. So we're going to create two new balls. Ball 2 is going to be copy ball. Oops, copy. This is the best. I love it. I'm sorry, I'm just having a ball. Oh, that wasn't even intended. Okay, so we're going to copy an existing ball. And which ball are we going to copy? Well, we assume that there is one ball already in our ball array, and that ball is on index 1. It's kind of like a cheap way out, but I think we can pull this off. So something like how do I make the square brackets? I guess like this. Okay, so this is ball number 1. This is the ball that exists. We're going to copy it, and we're going to put this in this new variable we just created called ball 2. So right now we have created two new balls, ball 2, and now we're going to also create ball 3. We created 2 balls which are both copies of ball 1. Now the problem is, like, if you run this, you won't actually get copies of a ball, because even though we technically created them in the memory somewhere, they're not being drawn on the screen. There's no collision detection because they're not in our ball array. That's where they belong. All the balls in the ball array are being actually drawn on the screen. I can have some other balls maybe somewhere, in some variable somewhere, but they won't be drawn on the screen. Because remember, when we draw things on the screen, we actually iterate through the ball array. And that's how balls end up being drawn on the screen, and that's how balls end up interacting with the edges of the screen, with bricks and so forth. So in order for these balls to actually be somewhere, we need to put them on in our ball array. I'm gonna make it like this. I don't know if that's an efficient way to do this again. I don't really like the arrays in Pico-8 too much. They're a bit of a hack. But let's do this. So I'm gonna go ball #ball +1. So basically we're gonna take a number of a ball that doesn't exist yet. So for example, let's say we have 1 ball in our array, which we assume. In this case, #ball is gonna be 1. That's the length of the number of entries in our ball array, 1. And we're going to add 1 to it, and which will result in 2. So the idea is that we're going to basically take a new entry that doesn't exist yet. Right? Ball, #ball +1. And we're going to set this one to ball 2. Easy. And then we're gonna also do the same thing. Again, we're writing the same thing because at this point we already have 2 entries in our ball array. So this will actually equal 3. And we're gonna set this to ball 3. And this is how we put ball 2 and ball 3 in our ball array. So far we will probably get balls in our ball array. However, there's a bit of a problem, because we just copied the balls that already exist, and they would be all drawn on top of each other, so we wouldn't actually see. They would be still there, but we wouldn't actually see them. So we have to do the thing that I talked about, where depending on which angle the ball has, the original ball has, we will make the balls have slightly different angles. Right? Okay. Right. So we're going to check what angle the original ball has. We're going to check the angle, and if this is 0, then. And then maybe if this is not 0, else if. Maybe if this is 1, then something else happens. And finally, else and. I'm just preparing the entire structure so we don't lose track of things. Okay. So basically what we want to do is we want to set a ball. If this has happened, if the angle of the original ball is 0, you want to set ball 2 angle to 1. And ball 3 angle to 2. Basically, we're going to occupy the 2 balls that we spawn would have a different angle from each other and a different angle from the original ball that they copied. There is a slight problem here where this angle thing, won't actually affect the vertical and horizontal speed. This is just like a reminder for us at which angle this ball is traveling. We have a function for this, if you remember. It's called setAng for set angle. We have it somewhere here. Let me see if we can jump real quick through these. Where is setAng? There we go, setAng. You remember? We actually rewrote it recently to be working with those objects, so we can set the angle for an object. And you see how this checks, for what kind of angle we're setting, and then adjust the y and the x and y speed accordingly to the angles. So we actually have to use the setAng thing here right now. I'm too far down. There we go, multiball, that's where it was. So I cannot just write it like this. I tricked you. We have to do setAng and then ball 2. This is the object of which we are setting the angle, and then to what we are setting it. And then that function will take care of all the important calculations. So yeah. Okay, and so basically we have to do the setAng thing 2 more times. There's probably a way more efficient way of doing this, but this will do. This will do, and to me it seems like logical for what's happening. Then just have to fix the other if statements here, the inside of the if statements. So if angle of the original ball was 1, the second ball is going to be 0, and the third ball is going to be 2 because 1 is already taken. And finally, if the original ball is something else, which in our case we know it's 2, then it cannot be 2. That the third ball cannot be 2. Instead, we want it to be like, let's make it consistent, and make the second ball 0 and the third ball 1. So there's like 3 possible angles: 0, 1, and 3, and you want to make sure that their copies are having different angles from each other and the original ball. Cool. And you know what? This could be working. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna run this. There's an error. There's an error, but no problem. I know what it is. I know what it is. See here? I told you, and I made the mistake myself. In if statements, you're comparing things to each other, so it's not just one equal sign, but the double equal sign. Okay, I don't know what actually multiball is. Was it? I think it was the red one, right? Oh, I think there it is. Bam! Holy crap! Did you guys see this? Did you guys see what just happened? Did you see this? Okay, just so you know, just in case. How do we make the power ups? What's the power up that we want to be? We want the power up 7 to be always our power up. Where do we spawn our things? There it is. Hit brick. There we go. Pill at pill. Okay, there it is. So is it 6? I forgot again. It's not 6. It's 7. Yes. I just want to make sure that every ball we're getting is going to be a 7 ball. Every pill we're going to get is a 7 pill. Spawn pill. There we go. Okay. So we're going to get... Oh, this is going to be really crazy now. Ready? There's one problem though. the game gets actually very hard because if we just lose one ball, we still lose the entire game. Look at how crazy this gets. Love it. This is the best. Okay, so we need to rewrite to make things a little bit not quite as difficult. And that's going to be the last thing I'm going to do today. Is we have to rewrite the game over function so that if we're going to lose a ball, there's already multiple balls on the screen, you know, the game is not over. Instead, it continues until we lose the last ball. I think this is a fair implementation of this feature. Right. So let me see. Where is it? Update game. I think this is where we want to be. Move pills, big ball loop. Yes. Oh, update ball. That's where we were. So yeah. So this is now the interesting part because there. Check if the ball has left the screen. And so you see, this is where the ball has left the screen, and this is where we actually have to check if maybe did I actually fix this somehow. This is where we have to check if there's still maybe some other balls happening. Yeah. Okay. So the way we do this is okay. So so we absolutely play the sound effect, but then we're gonna go if and then hashtag ball. If hashtag ball is greater than 1. If hashtag ball is greater than 1, that means that there's other balls on the screen. This is not the only one ball that exists. And in this case, we want to remove this ball, but we're going to keep other balls around. Otherwise, you know. Otherwise, we do the regular stuff. Because if ball is not greater than 1, if it's 1, for example, if the number of balls is not greater than 1, if it's just 1, then it's regular game over. But otherwise, here is when we're going to delete the ball. And it's going to be actually really simple. I don't think we're going to have other situations where we're going to delete the balls. So I'm just going to go del my ball. Oh no, actually ball my ball. Right? We're going to delete the entry my ball, the object my ball, from the array ball. That's it. And since there's nothing happening afterwards, we're not going to get into problems where it's like, oh, this ball actually doesn't exist, but we're still doing collision detection with it. It's good that we check this at the end of the function. So, so there's no problem with that. And again, since we're iterating through this function backwards, we're also not getting any troubles with, you know, the length of the array changing, and so us suddenly trying to address a ball that no longer exists. So let's just try this. So this should give us a lot of balls, but we should be able to lose some. Oh, this is the best. Oh, what? Oh, we cleared the stage. It was too easy. This, as you can see, simply because so much is happening on the screen, the game is already a lot more fun and engaging. There's a lot more. Oh god, I lost all the balls except one. This is actually this is all the best this game is supposed to be, I think. Perfect, love it. Okay, so it's working. As you can see, the game is way more engaging, way more fun. And there's a lot more happening on the screen. It seems more lively. That's what we call juiciness. But we want to get into juiciness more in depth. But there's like this groundwork that we need to lay. The more things are happening on the screen, the more pixels you're moving around, the more objects you see happening at the same time, the more interesting a game is, the more arcadey it feels. It seems a bit more chaotic. So we might actually tone things a little bit down. Maybe you're just going to have 2 balls, not just split into 3 balls. Maybe just, you know, split into 2 balls. And there's still some other things like I have to think about what happens if you pick up another power up. So that's kind of like some kind of edge cases we need to cover. But for now, I think we're good. I think we're good. So let me write down some other things. At the beginning of this lesson, I wrote down how, oh God, juiciness is still coming up. But for now, there's still some wrapping up to do. So I deleted Multiball, but actually there's going to be another episode on Multiball. Multiball. So, what are the two edge cases? Sticky, how sticky works. If you pick up sticky and you have multiball happening, you have to do the different implementation of sticky. And the other one is not sure what the other one is. Let me think about this real quick. Well, generally, like finding out what happens when you pick up other pickups, but I think, oh yeah, maybe just split, maybe just two balls. So this two multi-ball thing. That's something that you can try yourself. Like, just go ahead and try to make it so that only two balls appear, not three ones. Basically, at this point, I basically made the decision that probably I will make multi-ball stack with other abilities. It will be a bit overpowered, but I think it's just so much fun to play the multi-ball stuff. Like, there's so much happening on the screen. I don't want to ruin this by you suddenly picking up an object and then all the balls disappear. It seems like a sad situation. You want to have like this escalating kind of gameplay. And also I feel like if the balls disappear from the screen, then you have this problem. Then okay, which balls do I remove? You know, because maybe there was just a ball about to leave the screen, and that's suddenly the ball that's the only one that's remaining. And so we'd have to do like some kind of algorithm checking now which one is the safest, and that will be the one that stays. That's just a whole lot of problems. I think it might be easier just to make sure that the sticky just works for the next ball that hits the paddle, and that's it. And then otherwise, multi-ball will just keep two balls on the screen. Cool. But that's something that comes up on the next episode. Hope you join us next time. Bye bye, guys.